the moment, I'm sure we'll go back to our usual lifestyle soon as well. But at the moment, just
Yeah.
making the most of this. So
Right. Right.
it's good. Okay, shall we just start then?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you suggested as well, we will talk about how the mind works today and maybe how our thoughts actually affect our day-to-day life and how can we take care of our mind and deal with stress. So if you could just, enlighten us about this, that'd be so good.
Yeah, I can start by sharing a few ideas, and then if you want to jump in and say anything or, make a comment, then please do.
Okay, definitely.
So, yeah, just by way of background, since I was very young, I was 8 or 9, I got interested in why people behave the way they behave. And my parents, they started going to a meditation center when I was at that age. So I just used to go along with them and got exposed to the ideas, the atmosphere, and the people.
Mm-hmm.
And I found, the people were pretty calm and honest, and I learned a lot just by being amongst these people. And so it kind of became part of life, to take care of the inner self or to take care of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And as I grew up, going to, I was at school, of course, but later on, starting work and city life in the center of London, I was quite surprised how little attention people paid to taking care of their own minds.
Okay.
And to me, it seemed like everybody has two lives. There's, our outer life of our family, our friends, our career, travel, physical health, and so on. And of course, all these things are important. But then there is also an inner life of our thoughts, our emotions, our perceptions, etc. And it seemed to me people were giving a lot more attention to the outer life and little to the inner life. And due to this imbalance, there was a lot of stress in people's lives. And so then they would find ways to deal with that stress, whether it was medication or, cigarettes or alcohol or so on.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it became important to explore how the mind works, what is the inner spirit actually, and the realization that really the basis of how you experience life is how well you take care of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore it's been said, very beautifully, Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, he said the quality of your life depends on the quality of your mind.
That's right. Yeah. I'm just going to say something that I remember about, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago when I used to work in Oxford Street as well. I remember
Yes.
everyone, including myself, is going to the gym, taking care of our physical body. But I don't think it appealed to many people to take care of our mind. So that's why I think we are following behind a bit on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, what we're passing through now is these times when people don't have their usual escapes. Um, Before the lockdown, for example, if people had stress or anger or they felt bad, they could escape to a park or a coffee shop or the restaurant or the cinema or they see friends.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
due to the lockdowns, those escape routes are no longer available. And
Mm-hmm.
so people have to face and deal with their own emotions. And if you haven't been doing that work already as part of a lifestyle, then of course it's going to be a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But those people who are living already with taking care of the inner self, with meditation, with self-awareness, they're better able to manage their emotions at this time than those who kind of were fully occupied either in making money or in entertainment and not paying attention really to taking care of the mind. And I feel that one of the messages of this time we're passing through is taking care of the inner world, taking care of the mind, should really come at the top of one's priority list.
Definitely, and this is a really good time for it, isn't it? It's a chance really to work on that.
Yeah, and I would say, it's not even an option anymore. It's really a necessity, an essential. And my hope is that even as we come out the other side of this pandemic, that people will realize, yeah, I need to take some time to take care of the mind. I need to build something into my life to be
Mm-hmm.
able to relax the mind every day. So I hope it's not just a message for today, but if it becomes part of daily life, I think people's lives would improve immensely.
Mm-hmm. I agree on that. I agree. Yeah, so the stronger your mind and your soul is, the easier for you to challenge the struggles in life.
Yeah, definitely, because it's like, here is the person and
Mm-hmm.
here is life, but between you and life, there is your mind.
Yes.
And usually what people do is they try to control life, and they believe that by controlling life or by controlling people, or by controlling one person in their life, they'll be happy, they'll be secure, they'll feel good. But
Mm-hmm.
you cannot control life. If you try to control life, you will experience stress. But the trick is to learn to control the mind. And if my mind is in my control, then life will be less able to stress me. And so,
Exactly. So I guess it is most challenging this time is for those people who is used to controlling everything in their life, every situation in their life. So yes, controlling our mind and maybe surrendering what's happening. So how do we do that?
that's the question now. That's really what that's really what meditation and self-awareness is about. And
Okay.
let me explain maybe just a few ideas which hopefully will help the
Mhm.
people watching. It's like this, that as we've understood the body, we've understood how to take better care of it. For example, the body needs essentially oxygen, it needs water, you need rest, you need exercise. And people are very, very diet conscious these days about what they eat, what they don't eat, which is great, of course.
Mhm.
In the same way, when we understand the mind and the mechanism of the mind, then we understand how to wake up in the morning, what kind of thoughts are healthy and good in the morning, how to look after your mind during the day, and how to put the mind to sleep. I always use this example that, let's say, for example, you like ice cream very much. Do you like ice cream?
I do.
Yeah, me
I
too.
love it. Chocolate one
But if
especially.
but if somebody offers you a bowl of ice cream for breakfast, you may say, well, maybe later on, not for
Yeah.
breakfast, because you understand this huge amount of sugar and something cold first thing in the morning maybe is not so healthy.
Mhm.
Although you like it, but you know it's not healthy for you. In the
Yes.
same way, it's with the mind that when we wake up in the morning, before you launch into the day, before you kind of engage with people and the news and the weather and the traffic and so on, first engage with the peace inside you. There is peace within every soul, within every person.
Mhm.
So first start the day by engaging with your own self. Spend a few minutes being quiet and just experience that inner peace. And that's what we call as meditation.
Okay.
And if you have that experience in the morning, it's going to support your emotions through the day. Whatever you experience in the morning, it affects your whole day.
Mhm.
Now, there is this saying, that people say if they're having a bad day, they say, I must have got out of the wrong side of the bed.
That's it.
which is an indication that because the day started off badly, the rest of the day is being affected.
Mm-hmm.
But the opposite is true as well. If I start the day well, it's going to have a positive impact on the whole day. So that's the first thing. Start the day with experiencing some inner peace, some simple meditation. It can even just be 5 minutes or even 3 minutes, but make sure it's the first thing in the day after you get fresh, after you feel awake.
Okay, could be
And
quick to just remind people how to do that. I mean, some people might not know what meditation is even. I mean, a lot of people know it now, but maybe not knowing how to do it. So for
yeah,
me, it is mainly concentrating on my own breath. So that's how I start my meditation. I don't know if you want to just give some tips how to meditate.
yeah. What we can even do, if you think it's useful for people, is to do a very simple visualization and relaxing exercise. It
Mm-hmm.
takes about 3 minutes. We can even do it now if you like.
Okay, I'm up for it.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, let's do 3 minutes of meditation.
Yeah, it's a simple, it's not really even meditation. It's like a preliminary step to meditation.
Okay.
It's just about calming your mind down, relaxing your body, relaxing your mind. So if the people who are watching, if you are sitting on a chair, it helps if you can have your back straight and have your feet flat on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to be alert, but it's also good to be comfortable at the same time. And I'll speak out a few simple guiding thoughts, and everybody can just try and follow as best as you can. Some people have their eyes like half open. Some people close their eyes. If you close your eyes, you need to pay attention that you don't fall asleep. So you may have your eyes just half open, and let's just see how this goes. So let's just spend these few moments to relax the body and also to relax the mind. And so when we do visualization, we're using the power of images because the mind thinks in pictures. And so firstly, just draw your attention in towards yourself, and then draw your attention up towards your face. And now draw your attention to the center of your forehead. And here at the center of your forehead, just visualize, just picture a small room. And this small room is your quiet room of peace. Just visualize this very pleasant, quiet room of peace in the center of your forehead. And this is your private and personal space. When you are inside your quiet room, you feel very relaxed. This is the place where you can be yourself. Inside your quiet room, you are safe, secure. You are free from the pressures and the demands of the outside world. You can let go of your roles and responsibilities. Feel the peace and the wonderful silence of your quiet room. And just allow your mind to absorb this atmosphere of serenity, tranquility. And as you do so, the thoughts begin to slow down. The mind becomes calm, quiet, relaxed, peaceful, and free. Just be with this feeling of peace in your mind for 1 minute. And when you feel ready, you can just open your eyes and return to the present moment.
And we are ready to start the day. That was the morning meditation. That's good. Thank you.
I
That's
hope,
over now.
I hope it was relaxing for people. And
I'm sure.
I call this as charging, like the battery of your soul first thing in the morning. And it helps to keep the emotions in check, you know, when you have problems in the day or you're dealing with that person who you find difficult. So control your thoughts, because your thoughts lead to your emotions. And if your thoughts are coordinated, if you control your thoughts, then your emotions are also in your own hands as well.
That's right. That's right. But I know a lot of people actually find it difficult to control the thoughts going through their minds. And what we just suggest, every time they feel lost in negative thoughts, we just suggest they just stop for a minute maybe and then just go inside and just, even if it's for a minute, just breathe and meditate and go back to present time.
Yeah, that can help a lot. In fact, you know, it's during the day that the challenges come. And there's a little practice that some do, and we call that as traffic control for the mind. You know, so if you consider the thoughts in your mind to be like the cars in the street, question is, how is the traffic up here? Is it flowing orderly? Is it organized? Is it coordinated? Or is there a traffic jam in the mind? You know, it means I must do this, I shouldn't have done that. What about tomorrow? And this happened yesterday, and you know, all of that. So we know that when there's a traffic jam in the mind, so much time and energy is wasted. And so the situation you're describing, you know, when you're kind of lost in negative thoughts, it's like a traffic jam here. And every thought is like beeping at each other, get out of the way. So traffic control is like you try and stop mid-morning, let's say about 10:30, and once mid-afternoon, let's say about 2:30, just for a 3-minute check-in with your inner self. And that means like going to that quiet room inside yourself. And if you do this regularly every day, and if you're new to it, try it every day for 1 week and just see how much more you feel in control of your thoughts and your emotions.
It is all about practicing, isn't it? It's like you are creating this muscle in the mind. Like if you do weight training, you create muscles in your body. And if you keep practicing this, obviously you are going to create that in your mind. And before you know, you might not even have to force yourself. You might realize you actually live your life that way.
Yeah, that's exactly. I agree with that. It's a question of practice and making it into a lifestyle.
Yes.
Uh, just as, you know, we have people develop many bad habits through repeated behavior. The same
Mm-hmm.
way we can produce many good habits through repeated behavior, and it becomes part of the way you live, the way you see life, the way you handle situations.
Okay. So I guess we use this to deal with the stress as well.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of stress is the feeling of being out of control,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because stress is like an umbrella term. And then underneath that comes anxiety and fear and tension, anger, you know, all those what we call as stressful emotions. So quite naturally, if my mind is more and more in my control, then the level of stress I have will also begin to reduce. And if I may add one more thing, you know, there's two things really connected with, I believe, improving our life quality and also dealing with stress. One is this thing of increasing our inner power, and meditation, as we've mentioned, is one way by which we can do that.
Okay.
But then the second thing is learning to view life from another perspective. And what I mean by that, and an example of that, is one of the reasons we become stressed, especially due to people. Because I've found wherever I've gone in the world, most people's stress is people-related stress,
Yes.
interpersonal or relationship stress,
I guess
whether
that's
it's,
like taking things personal, isn't it? What you hear from outside.
yeah. And the main mistake I think people make when it comes to stress in relationships is we have this desire to control another person. You know, so in my
Yes.
mind, I'm trying to control or own or possess someone's behavior,
Yeah.
and you cannot do that. You
No.
cannot control the way people are behaving. The only thing you can control is your response to that person. And so, dealing with stress means also like learning to unlearn the tendency to control others and realize I can't control this person's behavior. I can't control the way someone's talking to me, but I can control how I wish to respond.
Mm-hmm.
So if my mind is consumed by what I don't like about someone's behavior, there'll be stress, there'll be anger, there'll be dislike. If my mind is more concerned with how I wish to feel, how I wish to respond, and notice how the stress drops quite dramatically when we begin to change that habit.
Yes, definitely. I think this actually could be a little bit more difficult for personal relationships between the partners because you are together all the time and you might hold on to yourself or accept what's happening and change your response. But if this continuously coming up, then how do we manage with that? Or you might be growing spiritually, but your partner might not be. And that is obviously going to create some clash. And, at the end, you may be not feeling yourself around them. How do we deal with that?
Well, yeah, I mean, you said a few important things there. Let me just touch on one of them. It's a great sentence which a friend of mine said once some years ago, and it's like this, that expectations are an invitation to irritation.
Okay. That's
So
explain.
when we get irritated in relationships, especially close relationships, it's really because the expectation I have of someone is not being met. And so where's the problem? The problem, we usually say the problem is you're not behaving the way I want you to behave.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's the wanting that's the problem. You know, my wanting, my expectation, that is actually causing me the irritation or the stress.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, there needs to be a balance there of acceptance as well. And as you mentioned, you know, if one person is spiritually growing, but the other is not, the hope is that the person who's growing can inspire the other one to also grow.
There's a hope.
Why should? Yeah, well, it's of course very challenging,
It is.
and but you know, it's like I believe the more mature one becomes emotionally and spiritually, that in your company you would inspire somebody else to also grow. Initially, people will resist you. Initially, people will feel, who gives you the right to improve yourself? Or they want to test you that, for example, your peace or your tolerance, is it real? And they'll try and, you know, push your buttons, all your buttons at the same time, just to see if it's real.
Yeah.
And if you react to that, they'll say, ah, see, I told you, it's not real, you're just faking it. But if you stay true to your practice, if you stay honest with yourself, if you keep your dignity, if you keep going, then the person realizes, I cannot upset this person. I cannot, you know, provoke this person. And that will begin to change their attitude towards you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think, you know, I would say, I wouldn't say it's the word change. I would say I use the word grow. You know, we are supposed to grow as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, you grow anyway if you're, you know, eating and drinking and looking after the body. But also to grow emotionally and spiritually is something we need to pay attention to.
That's right. Also, I think we also should maybe give our partners the right to not grow. If they don't want to grow spiritually, they should be fine, because what I realize is as you grow spiritually, you want to see your partner doing the same thing as well, and without realizing, you try to push them towards somewhere that they don't want to be, or they're not ready, just because you think that it is good to be there. Perhaps we should just accept them the way they are and just give them right not to as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to respect people for who they are and where they are at. Plus, you know, every person has their own time.
Yeah.
I like the phrase, every person is at a different level of readiness
Mm-hmm.
for change or growth. And all we can do is, you know, just to be yourself, to be an example, just to be the best you that you can be.
Exactly.
And in time, people will, you know, be inspired in their own time, but not to put pressure, not to force somebody to be what I want you to be.
Yeah, it just, I know that it proves to be a bit difficult in the personal relationships, because if you are feeling spiritual and your partner doesn't, you kind of feel like you can't be yourself, you kind of shrink yourself a bit. But perhaps we should pass through that and just be how you feel, even if your partner isn't spiritual or if he doesn't want anything to do with it. So have the strength to be who you are.
Yeah, yeah. I like the phrase, you know, have your self-respect, but
Yeah,
also respect the other person as well, both
exactly.
together.
Exactly. Shall I just put the comments on, see if anyone wants to ask anything quickly?
Okay.
I know you said half an hour, and I think our time is almost there, but if you don't mind,
Yeah.
just a few minutes, and we'll
Okay.
see if anybody wants to ask anything, or if you want anything else we would like to add on, Yogesh.
I think probably given, you know, a few important messages tonight, I'm hoping that people can use them in their lives.
Yeah, I'm hoping as well.
Yeah.
Especially these days, you know, where we really need to deal with the stress. Because I remember a couple of days ago, I was talking to a friend who went shopping, and she said everyone was getting too close to her. and she kind of got very stressed, and she just started holding her breath. And I think, you know, we kind of need to know, because we do see these situations these days, and to protect ourselves, we do need to know how to keep ourselves calm in these situations as well, just like the sudden unexpected situations. So I think what you explained will be very helpful. So there are
Yeah.
lots of different type of, there are lots of different type of meditation. I don't know if this is anything else coming after this.
Yeah.
I mean, there is, isn't it? Like the one you explained, but just the start of it. But I know there's like the moving meditation as well. I remember going to that. Just being aware as you walk on the street, let's say, being aware of what's around you, just noticing
Yeah.
every tree, every car, every leaf, every flower. So being just part of the present moment.
Yeah, definitely helps. There are, as you say, many different types of meditation.
Yeah.
And, you know, the starting point is, what do I want, or what do I really need? And then based upon that, you know, you find what fits with your personal need.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, of course, it's another whole subject to go into. What is meditation, and what are the different steps involved? Maybe, you know, that's for another time.
Maybe we'll do that another time. There's one question: how to stay positive?
Yeah. Well, one of the things to do is to, for me anyway, in my experience, is really to see everything as a learning opportunity. There is something to learn from each situation. So whether it's a challenge I'm facing in my personal life, or even if it's a global challenge like we're passing through today, I believe that if I have a spiritual attitude to life, if I have what in Turkish you'd call a kişisel gelişim attitude, you know, a self-development attitude, and we could see the whole of life as a kind of school.
Mm-hmm.
And if life is a school, then who are we? We are students. If life is a school and we are students, then who are the teachers? The teachers are situations and also other people. And so whenever you find something challenging, I believe the thing to do is to ask, what is there for me to learn in this situation? How can I grow through this situation? And I find that all the learning is very much connected with virtues. In one situation, I need more courage. In another situation, I need tolerance. Another
Mm-hmm.
situation, I have to learn to forgive. In some other situation, I need to practice being stable or have more self-respect. If I focus on the virtue I need, then I learn, I grow, and the situation has become meaningful and positive for me.
That's it.
So I would just say, don't focus on the situation too much. Focus more on the learning potential for me through that situation, and you will grow and you will continue to evolve.
So it's important to know which virtue to dip into. Yeah, there
Yeah,
is a nice saying actually. I like it very much. It says, there is no friends or enemies in life. There is only teachers. So, you know, I prefer to look at life like that. Everyone is a teacher. Every situation is a teacher. So, you know, the best you
yeah,
can learn, better your life is.
yeah, that's beautiful. I like that very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks to you. Thank you.
It was really nice talking to you, Yogesh, and hopefully we'll do this again. And
Sure.
yeah, I'll see
If
what
people have the interest, yeah, sure.
I'm sure they will. So I'll see, you know, if there are any questions or information, or people want to join in a chat like this again, and then yeah, I'll arrange it with you. And it's always nice to
Okay.
see you anyway, if it is just for me. And that's good enough.
Thanks for the chance. It was a great idea. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. And I want to say thank you to everyone who's watching, who's listening to. Thank you for being here with us. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay,
Okay.
so take care.
All the best.
See
Okay.
everyone
Stay safe.
later.
Good night. Good
Bye.
night.
Good night.
Take care.
Bye. You too. Bye, Yogesh.